High fives. Woo! Everybody, how's it going? I am so excited to be back. Oh my gosh, this is great. I'm so excited that just now I was talking to one of the participants here. I won't say who. She says, how's it going? Good. You excited about being here? I am. Are you nervous? It's like, no, I do this all the time. Why do you ask, am I nervous? Well, you're standing in the women's bathroom. Anyway, I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me back. I really appreciate it. And we had a good time yesterday, shared some nice things, and looking forward to sharing more as well. I really appreciate the fact that you're talking about inspiration, innovation, and moving forward. Because I always say that bad leaders complain. Good leaders explain. Great leaders demonstrate, but the exceptional leader, they inspire. And that's what we're about, inspiration. We all want inspiration. In fact, we want it today, don't we? You want to be inspired. I want to be inspired. We're always looking for it. A couple of great examples of inspiration is in the 17th century, there was this amazing violin artist. His name was Nicolas Chauvin. Actually, it's Niccolo Chauvin. And Niccolo was just an amazing artist to the point where everyone who ever heard him play his violin were always moved to tears. At this point, Niccolo had this reputation of, if you go hear him play, it's just amazing. He also had haters because he was so good that people thought that his violin was possessed. This man was incredible. Well, one particular day, packed house, full orchestra audience, and Niccolo was dressed in all black because that's how he rolled. And he went in the only way he knew how, hard. And he was going through his rendition. It was amazing as usual. And as he was going through his piece, one of the strings on his violin broke. And visibly you can see that he's not happy about it, but he's continuing to play. And then, after a while, he's playing again, that second string breaks. This is not good. But he continues. And for Niccolo Paganini, guess what? That third string breaks. You only have 4 strings on a violin. So he's down to 1 string. But he continues to play. And then he plays that piece just beautifully. And everybody is amazed at his effort down to 1 string. He finishes up, standing ovation. And then at that point, you realize we're not going to get an encore tonight because he's down to 1 string. But that wasn't the plan for him. So Niccolo, in his style, quiets the audience, readies the orchestra, and he makes this announcement. He says, Paganini on 1 string. And he plays this beautiful rendition on 1 string in C. Chill bumps. People are going crazy. He was obviously inspired. And he was an inspiration to his audience. But here's the question. What do you think of a man who was given a job that he loved, but yet his resources were down? He wasn't given enough to do the job, but he continues. What do you think of a man who was, after given these odds that he wasn't planning on, very unexpected, but he continues to play? When we think deeper about Niccolo Paganini, we're a lot like him in the sense that most of us don't play with 4 strings. Some of us is just used to playing with 3, 2, and down to 1. Sometimes our resources are not what we like them to be. We want our finances to be here. We want our ends to meet, but our ends kind of just wave at each other from time to time. We may feel like I can do more, but my health just really doesn't allow me to do what I need to do. We feel like, you know what, I really would like that job. I would like to be up here talking about my experience as a leader. But I only have 1 string. For Niccolo Paganini, One string was enough. And as we'll begin to find out, we're always enough. Another example that I like to talk about in regards to being enough was about an individual by the name of Osceola McCarty. Now, Osceola was born in 1909. In fact, to be straight and honest with you, her mother was raped. And Osceola was the product of that assault. Well, because of that trauma, her grandmother was the one who actually raised her. And her grandmother rather, as a living, washed clothes, sheets, towels, shirts, whatever needed. And through her life, Osceola washed clothes as well. Well, unfortunately, when Osceola was in the 6th grade, she was 11 years old, her grandmother became really sick, ended up passing away. Well, she didn't go away immediately, but she got sick so much so that Osceola had to stop going to school in the 6th grade to take care of her grandmother. But she continued to wash clothes, and that was her life for a long time. Osceola went on to live that life of washing clothes for $1, $2. Well, one day when Osceola is getting up in age, she gets a call from the bank. Miss McCarty, this is Bill from the bank. Hi, Bill. Well, I just have a question for you, and it's a customary call that we give everybody. In the unfortunate, unlikely event of your demise, we'd like to know what we'd like to do with your resources. And she says, can you say that again in maybe English? Miss McCarty, with all the resources you have at this bank, we'd like to know, if you passed away, what should we do with your money? She says, well, how much money do I have? He said, you don't know? She said, no, I just saved money. He said, well, come down to the bank tomorrow, we'll talk about it. Well, she gets up, gets dressed, goes down to the bank, sits down with the banker, and he explains to her, Miss McCarty, you have $280,000 here at the bank. What would you like to do? It was amazing. She says, well, I'm not sure. He says, I'll tell you what, in percentages, because she wasn't getting the percentage concept yet, he says, I'm going to put on this table 10 dimes, which represents 10%. When I point to a dime, you tell me where you want that money to go. I can handle that. So he lays out the 10 dimes, and he points to the first one. And she thinks for a second. She says, I would like that money to go to my church because I really appreciate my church community. He says, okay. He points to the second dime. She says, well, I have 2 nephews because I never had any children, and I like for them to get a good start, so the next 2 dimes can go to them. Okay. Well, what about the rest of the money, the additional 7 dimes? She thinks for a second. She said, I would like for that money to go to the University of Southern Mississippi. He says, the University of Southern Mississippi? You mean the same school that wouldn't allow you to go there when you were growing up? Yes, that's the school. That's the school, the local school. Because I would like to give an opportunity for those who know how to dream still, so they can do something that I wasn't able to do. You sure, Miss McCarty? I'm sure. I'm sure. Osceola McCarty gave up $150,000 of her hard-earned money, her life savings, to help other people that she didn't even know. Is that not an inspiration? But the story doesn't stop there. It pauses. Because people began to hear about in 1995 what Osceola did. To the point where Ted Turner, the CEO of TNT at the time, he mentioned that if she can give her life savings, I can give something. She was on The Tonight Show, The Today Show. She was on CNN. She was on 2020. Even Bill Clinton, who was the president at the time, bestowed upon her the award, the highest reward or award that you can give a citizen for her ability to give. I love that story. That's inspiration. Because that again tells us that you don't need to have a lot to give, to be an inspiration. And when we talk about ourselves, we think about, well, how can I be an inspiration? What does that look like? Well, the name of this discussion is Running with Horses. And the question is, well, where does that come from? Well, it's actually a story of a small horse that was mistakenly put in a stable in a home with mules. And for his whole life, his name was Henry. Henry knew he was a horse. He knew he was a horse, but he was raised with mules. So he ate what mules ate. He played mules games. He talked about what mules talk about. So he ran with mules. But he knew inside, I'm telling you, you gotta believe me, I'm a horse. I'm just in the wrong place. I know I associate with mules, but I'm a horse. One day, he happened to see a group of horses run by. He had an inspiration and a feeling he never had in his life. So he did the only thing he could think to do. He ran along the fence with the horses. Oh my gosh, this is my life. This is my life. And there they go. And a few days went by, and here they go again. Oh, there they go again. Now that's my life. That's my life. And there they go again. And then he would go back and live his mule life. He was frustrated because everybody told him, you're a mule. Henry, you're a mule, man. Accept it. No, I can't accept it. But he went through the paces. He went through the process. But in the back of his mind, he always knew, one day, I'm telling you, I'm a horse. He just happened to look like a mule and live like a mule. Well, one particular fateful day, he's hanging out by the fence because he knew these horses are going to come by one day. A singular horse came by, and he said to him, Henry, what are you doing here? Henry says, well, I'm here because I'm a mule. I'm told I'm a mule. He says, no, you're a horse. It's like, yes, I know I'm a horse, but they don't believe me. It doesn't matter. You're a horse. I'm going to prove it to you right now. Okay, I need proof. This is what I'd like for you to do. Back up and run as fast as you can, jump as high as you can, and jump over the fence. What? I can't do that. Sure you can. Just try it. So he backs up, runs as far as he can, or fast as he can, and toward the fence, jumps, and sure enough, it's almost like he had wings. He was over the fence. He was amazed at himself. He just needed somebody to remind him he's a horse, that he can do it. And just out of fear, you know what he did? He came back on the other side to live his mule life. Well, the next day came, and his questions were asked, well, Henry, what are you doing back on this side of the fence? Well, because, I know I say I'm a horse. I might not be a horse, but I've been living as a mule, and all my friends and family, they're all mules. So, this is how I live. No, you need to come with us. So this is what I'd like for you to do. In 2 days, when we come through here, I would like for you to run with us. So in the next 2 days, he started running, practicing, getting himself ready. Because at this point, Henry didn't look like a mule anymore. He looked like what he was, a horse. So sure enough, that time came and he could hear it. It sounded like thunder. These galloping horses, here they come. And he just got that blood rolling. He was ready, and here they come. And he jumped the fence, and guess what he did? He was running with horses. He was running with horses. He began to believe that, you know what? I'm not a mule. I was never a mule. I will always been a horse, and I'll always be a horse. Here's the point, guys. You can allow someone to tell you what you can't do. Don't believe it. You know what you can do. You know what you can accomplish. And you may have a situation where you failed, and they say that you should be here. Fine. I can be here. But when my steed comes by, I'm jumping the fence and I'm running with the horses. So let's not allow anyone ever to tell you what you can or cannot accomplish, or what you can or cannot do, or what you will or will not be. No matter what the past said, we're talking about now and the future. Always believe you can run with horses. You have me on that? Definitely. So important. Let's build on that a little bit. But in order for this to happen, you got to look in the mirror. You have to look in the mirror. Because here's the thing, when I'm presenting, all I'm doing is sharing with you my singular perspective on life. Of course, I like to read and I, take classes like you and all those things, and I prepare. But all I'm really doing is providing you with information. And that's how life really is. You're provided with the information, but it's up to you to determine whether it's the truth or not. Does it apply to you or not? Whether you're going to use it or not? Is it something for now or is it something for later? That's all up to you, which means who's the real teacher? You're the teacher. I'm not the teacher. They call me coach, but you're the coach. So here's the thing, as you look at yourself in the mirror, honestly, take an honest assessment as to who you really are, and then apply it. Don't wait. Apply it when it's time, and that time is always now. So the thing is, we have to look in the mirror. Here's the thing, when we look in the mirror, the one thing that we need more than anything else is focus. And focus is important because if we don't have focus, we don't accomplish anything. The expression goes, the person that chases 2 rabbits, how many they catch? None. And we have so many distractions these days with iPhones and iPads and iPods. We need icons and ideas. That's what it's about. So let's talk about focus a little bit. There was this kid, his name was Richie. And Richie was, I don't know what to call it, an outsider. Growing up, he was never picked to play ball with the rest of the kids because he was too clumsy. He was always in trouble with his teacher in school because he never paid attention. He just was not someone that you can think would succeed. Well, Richie was taken to the doctor for a routine exam, and they gave him an eye exam, and come to find out, Richie was just about legally blind. He couldn't see a thing. They provided him with some lenses. Everything changed. He just simply thought that everybody saw the world as he did, in a blur. But when that happened, when he got these new glasses, these new lenses, oh my. How do we get new lenses? This is a start. Not just today, but when we better ourselves with taking classes, with looking at ourselves, with looking at examples, with trying, that's when the lens come out. And what the real lens is our mindset. An example that I use is there was a study shown where individuals that were given medication by doctors, especially painkillers, they felt better about the pain medication versus if they were given pain medication by a machine. It's like, I don't know if it's working, but the doctor affirmed that it was because he's giving it, or the nurse. So the thing is, if we're given encouragement that this is what we're given, we seem to move forward with that. Focus. Once we arrive at a point where we know what we want to do, it's important that we stay away from distractions. And we have just so many distractions with Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Google, going on, and we spend so much time with that. But when we look at those social media outlets, which can be useful, does it really enhance who you are? Are you really grinding at what you're doing? Are we really putting forth the effort to run with the horses? In December 30th, 1972, there was a 30-year veteran pilot that was manning a flight from New York City to Miami, routine flight. It was a L-1011. They call it the plane that pampered the patient, or the passenger rather. Well, routine flight. They get to close to Miami. He decides to lower the landing gear, front landing gear. And he noticed that the indication light wasn't coming on. No problem. 2 engineers, 2 pilots. They decide to check it out. He sends an engineer down to what they call the hellhole to make sure that the landing gear is engaged. It turns out it was engaged. They're ready for the landing. But the little light didn't come on. The $2 light bulb didn't come on. Well, what's happening? I don't know. So the next engineer goes down to the hellhole to check things out, even though, again, the landing gear is there. And then the second pilot, the co-pilot, he says, I don't know what's happening. The landing gear indicator light is just not on. I'll come down there. Third person, the co-pilot, goes down to the hellhole. And then finally, the main pilot, Rob, turns on the autopilot. He says, let me come down there with you. So he turns on autopilot, starts to go down to the hellhole. But as he goes down to the hellhole, he bumps the autopilot.